All right. Namaste, great souls. Wonderful to share and be together. And it's so great that you carved out this time for healing, for wholeness, to return to our essential self. And hopefully we go in and out, but we can't have tools to come back. And then as we're off the mat, maybe that's happening more often when we don't feel we're separate, because that is a root of suffering, and yoga is that sense of separation. So that ties into, I'm just going to talk a little bit at first about the sixth chakra here. And this is our third eye. This is where the two eyes become one. And it's so important in seeing clearly, developing our intuition. It governs just our ability to also visualize, is really key in the center here. Insight, perception, seeing beyond the surface level of things. And if it's blocked, we tend to be more closed-minded, or we feel stuck, or we're just, it's not very expansive. So when we want to integrate the chakras, we want to be tuning in, and I'll help guide us through. It's a more subtle energy, but it's a very powerful energy at the same time. So we know we're in duality, right? Hatha, solar, right side, lunar, left side. So our body's in duality, our thoughts are in duality, our emotions are in duality. And yet we're talking about bringing those together psychologically, and then especially spiritually, that the two become one, and that we're at peace when we're in a non-dual state. We probably all experience that. There's no separation, and there's much less suffering because we're not in separation. Now, the trick is, okay, psychologically, of course, we don't like our quote negative emotions, fears, doubts, confusions, and we want to get rid of those. But as you know, the only way to get rid of those is to integrate those, is to allow those. And so I'll allow that. We'll do a deeper yoga nidra at the end of this practice that you can return to whichever difficult emotion is rising up. We pair it with its opposite. We bring those two together, and it has the effect, emotionally and psychologically, like a yoga class. So the integration is really important, so we're not in opposition with ourselves. So, well, enough of the talking about it. Let's experience it. I'm going to step back. And I'm going to use my intuition to guide the class. So, seated comfortably, and just give it a felt sense of working with opposites. Just feel as you lengthen up through the crown and root down through the sit bones. The right hand. Notice the temperature, sensation. Maybe there's a pulsing going on with the right hand. And then just shift attention to the left hand. Notice the sensation there. It could be similar, it could be slightly different, or very different. Pulsation, temperature, energy. Now here's where the non-dual comes in. We bring the right hand, the left hand together, and we're going to do an eagle heart mudra, crossing out the thumbs, where the two literally join one another, and we breathe. Full yogic breathing, belly, heart, crown. On the inhale, crown, heart, belly, feet at your pace. Tuning into the breath, but feeling perhaps in this simple exercise, this is by Richard Miller, Yoga Nidra, of demonstrating on the physical sense how the two become one. Breathing into the center of the heart as well. Softening the shoulders, softening where we can. And when we're in our full yogic breath, we're in the central channel. And as we know, and I try to state every class, that is one definition of yoga, the neutralization of these opposites to wholeness. And wholeness is our original state. So when I work with clients, I want them to feel, or students, feel the wholeness is already here. We're simply returning to it. That's the deepest truth of our sixth chakra, of our intuition, of our higher knowledge and wisdom and knowing. We want to ask for that higher wisdom and knowing to come through as well. Okay, let's inhale, expand, and radiate out from the heart through the hands, heart chakra. And then exhale, bring the hands down and gently round. Navel to the spine, chin tucking. Now you can either pulsate up with the arms expanding out if that works for your shoulders, or you could keep the hands down and lift the chest up. And then exhale, condensing. And do this movement, this flowing of the energy centers opening, the lotus petals opening. And then exhale, getting into the back of the heart here, navel to the spine. Okay, lengthen up and shake out the legs. We keep tuning in to what is feeling, pushing it a little bit, but maybe pulling back when we need to, listening to your body always. We'll start in our child's pose. So if you would like to have a blanket and your props. Now, the sixth chakra here, maybe it will rest on the floor, maybe it won't. But just we're opening to releasing the back of the neck where that ego jam, the I, the me, what can I get, who's going to give it to me, how survival, all that stuff is very strong in all of us, but we're offering it up to the wisdom of the sixth chakra, the spiritual eye, the third eye. And we're lifting our wrists off the floor and we're walking our hands over to the right. Take your time, get a nice side stretch. This pose itself, whether we know it or not, but we can add to it and ask that our individual self be guided by our wisdom self, our higher self. That's when we can really trust our intuition more, when it's guided by higher wisdom. And then walking over and to the left, stretching through the right side body. Full breathing belly, deep belly breathing. You can't help but feel that, most likely. Really good for digestion. And our forward fold. All forward folds are surrendering poses, letting go. Stretching out, and from here, rounding up. So we keep that rounded spine, then a neutral spine. So optional, that if you want a slightly different cat stretch, you can experiment with this, bringing your fingertips out to the side, or bringing the fingertips to face towards you. So it's working with a pose we usually do, but then just changing it up by the hand placement, which will give a different effect on the wrists. Okay. Inhale, scooping out. Low, mid, upper back, eye gaze up. Exhale, rounded spine. You decide how deep you want to go back toward your heels. And continue. Scooping action on the inhale. And exhale, really empty out the ear. Letting go. Letting go. Of course, we know taking what worked, where the appreciation is, the gratitude, perhaps journaling about that, writing it down, and seeing what we can release, what we're responsible for to not, if we don't like it, to not take in again to this new year. All right, and then neutral spine. See how that felt on your wrist. If it was too much, you could just take a moment here and turn the palms up. If you could see that. Okay. Let's go ahead and walk and bring our feet out in front of us. Get warm already. We're going to do a figure 4. So we're going to come down. You could have the blanket on your low back or not. So core strength as we shimmy shake to the right, to the left. Unfurl. And then hug those knees in. Hug those knees in. Release the back. Maybe make the circles with the knees wide, inner borders of the feet together before we go into figure 4. Starting gradual and planting that left foot down, flexing through the right toes, draw the knee away from you, and that triangle of space. We reach through. I like to use the elbow as a wedge to open up the hip even more. 3 to 5 breaths here. If you want more stretch through the hamstring, you can use your strap around the ball of the foot, or perhaps grab that large toe or behind the calf. Visualization, breathing and seeing your body. If there's a lot of times different issues going on, visualize any color. I like to bring gold or purple light to these areas. See what color speaks to you. Oh yes, indigo is the color of the 6th chakra. Tried to wear a little bit of indigo to draw that in. It's between a blue and a purple. Drawing the knee in. And then, of course, the opposite. Left knee, the left shoulder, flexing through that left heel, drawing the left knee away from you in that triangle of space, reaching through, using your elbow to open up if that speaks to you underneath the knee or on top of the knee. Tune into this side, the lunar side, the solar energy. It's probably going to feel different, of course. One side's more, our dominant hand side is more active than our non-dominant hand, that whole side. If you want to add the hamstring stretch, feel free. But again, visualize at the spiritual eye, healing energy. It starts there, but then it courses through, could course through the whole body or specific areas of the body. I'm returning to wholeness. I'm getting better. Whatever affirmation speaks to you, use your intuition. So there's a generalized affirmation and there's ones you could really personalize. Thank you, body, for all you can do. And then easing out. Okay. So just to, keep it interesting, adding just a little slight difference of what I normally teach. I try to keep myself growing. Is we're going to extend our legs. We're going to reach our arms up. The hands are together. We're going to bend the elbows. The knees are going to come out to the side. And we'll open up the hands. Okay. Let's extend up. Shoulders on the ground, the inner borders of the feet together. Exhale. The most important is keep that low back plugged in. Easy to have it come off the ground. So core strengthening as we exhale. Elbows bend and touch, knees open, hips open, and then back. We'll do 2 more of these. Good for the brain. Keep the low back plugged in. And up. Elongate the spine. One more time. Exhale. Beautiful. And then inhale. Okay, adding to our classic twist, making it a little bit more, just adding to the flavor of it. We're bringing our right knee to our right shoulder, extending the left leg, peel the left toes back. Let's come into a lying down lunge at first. So we're climbing up that calf. We're bringing the knee over toward the armpit, and we're maybe hover the left heel off the ground. If you want to do the hammock, you bring your arm behind your head and you look over toward that left armpit. That's not appropriate for everybody, but see what speaks to you today. Opening the hip, coming back down. And we start with our simple twists, which we're very used to. I try to do it every class. Swivel the hips. Pulse that knee across the body, back and forth. Hydrate. And affirm as we stabilize. Divine life is within me and all around me. And our individual self is opening up into that 6th chakra. That ego jam at the back of the neck is being freed by our intention, by rocking the neck gently side to side to open to that divine life and that divine intuition flowing through our lives, flowing through our body. Now, what we're going to do differently is bend this left knee. Okay, we come back onto our spine so you can adjust. Arms are wide. And this is where we do an opposite. So the leg is up, the right leg is up, and we're going to bring the right leg across, but then the left arm across the chest. Now this could be a strengthening the low back. If it's too much, you keep your leg higher. You don't want to strain the low back. Bilateral movement, unlocking that stuck energy that can keep us in some, looping residual thoughts that aren't necessarily expansive. When we do these bilateral movements, think of unclogging the brain. So a little differently with the arm and the leg sweep. Opposite, just the opposite arm, opposite leg, moving to the other side. So adding something different to the repertoire than I usually teach, which is important. Okay, and then we just lift that left knee up. We adjust. And let's fold that right knee in. Now let's take that all in before we go to the other side. Integration. Breathing from the belly to the heart to the crown. Oh, and then crown, heart, belly, feet. Feel the earth supporting you. That's an opposite there. The back body, felt sense of support, more heavy. The front body, probably lighter. And we let the back body meet the front body. More wholeness. Okay. Inner borders of the feet, same thing to the other side, bend the left knee. Take it into a lying down lunge. If it's too much on your back, you could always bend that knee to protect the low back. Bring the knee, ankle perpendicular, walking the hand up. And if your low back's okay, you're going to hover that heel off the ground. knee to the outside of the left armpit here, trying to even across the hips. If you want to add that hammock move, maybe too much. You're looking towards your right armpit in that direction. Trust my inner guidance and wisdom by attuning to the higher power. And then we come back down. Fold in. So this is where it's different. The brain's got to get used to this. I know my brain does. The right knee over to the side, the left leg extends. Okay, arms wide. And it's an opposite. It's an opposite. Core strength. Left leg comes across the body, right arm across the chest. And then you decide the lower you go, the more intense it is. Okay. Do this about 4 times, brush stroke. Inhale, slow enough to feel it. Exhale. Crossing the midline. For strength. Brain gym. I turned my head to the side quite a bit to release that stuck energy. I didn't forget about the full twist affirmation we'll do at the end here. Don't worry if you don't get this right away. The brain needs to adjust on the body as well. That's how we build neural pathways, new neural pathways. And now we're going to lift this knee back up and finish off in the deeper twist. We started with the lunge and we take it over, pulsing back and forth, knee and shoulder, sustaining it and sweeping when you're ready, the left arm up and affirming divine life is within me and all around me. I'm opening to that divine life from the crown chakra and above down through my 6th chakra, through all the chakras of my body. We need to interact with one another. And we're opening our intention and we're literally opening this physical space to do that, and the prana space to do that. And then we come back, plant that foot, adjust, fold the left knee in, and descend the leg down. Take a couple breath cycles in a mini shavasana here. Full yogic breath. You can have one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Left and right integrate through the central channel. Returning to wholeness. Soften where we can. And feel that strength of coming back literally to our spiritual center with the alignment in the chakras with the lotus petals facing upward. Okay, we did floor work, grounding, 1st chakra, connected to 6th, of course. To start, which is some ways to get started, arcing, and then flattening, arcing, digging the sacrum into the earth, and then flattening. One more time. Thank you, body, for all you can do, for showing up, bringing that light, healing energy to all the cells of the body, in between the cells and the cells. If possible, we'll rock and roll. Otherwise, roll to your side. Gaining enough momentum if we're rocking and rolling to come into our standing. So we do that gradually from a malasana, if you're able to do this. I know this could be a lot on the knees. So you can do it on the blanket or a bolster. We won't be here too long. And we're going to come into our forward fold. Uttanasana. Feet hip width apart or a little bit more as we rock gently side to side. A little sway to just find our balance points on our feet. Spread the toes wide. 4 points. Below the ball of the second and first toe on the ball of the foot, little toe, and the 2 outer heels. Mostly relaxing any unnecessary mental burdens. If you want to scratch and massage the back of the neck, especially that ego jam, open it up. Open it up. We're already going into the spiritual eye here in the crown. Every forward bend. Soften the knees, lift the heart, reach back with the arms, pulse. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, one arm sweeps back, chair. Inhale, pulse it up, strength pose. The left arm sweeps back. Inhale. One more time, each side. Exhale. Breathing in and sweeping out. Tools to balance our 6th chakra. Some of those I've already mentioned. Visualization. Chanting Om. That's the seed mantra for the 6th chakra. If you have a candle, candlelight meditation on the light and the different factors of the light. So I'll stop there. It doesn't get, so we could take that in. We bring our hands to the heart or eagle heart mudra. We're in our mountain pose. We're breathing. I am able to see and act in alignment with my divine purpose. I am able to see and act in alignment with my divine purpose. See if that affirmation speaks to you. And we're going to go into our vinyasa standing flow, of course. Bring others with us for their healing as well as ours, crown of the head. And we're going to reach the arms up, spread them wide, bend the knees, and step back into our warrior 1. So the right foot is back, frontal facing hips. We're going to start with our classic warrior, but then we're going to go eagle arm warrior. So inhale, get rooted, get grounded. Arms sweep up. Exhale. I attune my will to the source of all power. Now, bring the right elbow as best as possible underneath the left. You're going to touch at the spiritual eye if you can with your thumbs. If that's too much, okay, that's asking too much, just visualize it. Visualize it. Or you don't have to touch the thumbs. You could touch the knuckles. All right. But we're pulsing up. I attune my will. And we're bowing down to the source of all power. We're receiving. We're opening up. I attune my will to the source of all power. We're surrendering in. One more time. I attune my will to the source of all power. I forgot to say if it's too much, we go like this, or we just keep the arms out in that warrior, classic warrior pose. Okay, arms come down. We take a deep, luxurious hip opener here, which we love to do in class. We come on top of the knee. We shimmy, shake it. The hips roll onto the little toe side of the foot. And then we flow. So we're going to come into our plank. All right, and we're going to sustain our plank a little bit longer because that's going to build our core strength, of course. And so we weave that in. We step back, draw the navel in, you come forward and back, or just sustain it. A little more challenging is to turn the hips to one side, come onto the outer edge of that outer foot, right foot, and then back, outer edge of the left foot. If it's too much, just stay straight. And then we touch the knee, chest, chin down. We take a moment and rest at the spiritual eye before we do our locust series. Soften where you can, resting in and acting in divine purpose, receiving it. And let's let our wings of joy soar upward. We're going to first start with our arms by our side, recharging the spine, lifting the right leg up. Inhale, pulse it up. Exhale, ease. Strengthening and expanding as we inhale, left leg, pulse up, and exhale, ease. If you can, arms out to the side, or like we did with our warrior arms, okay? Inhale, we come up, soaring upward on wings of joy. Come a little bit down, but then pulse up again. Exhale, if possible, one more time, pulse up. Thank you, body. Touch the spiritual eye on the earth. And then just keep the energy rising up in Cobra, Bhujangasana. Inhale, opening to the joy, the possibilities of this day. Exhale, lion's breath. And modifying your Cobra in any way that works for you. And let's take it back to a rounded cat and then a down dog. Exhale, rounded spine. Opposite of the back bend. Inhale, neutral spine. Maybe the first down dog, full body stretch of the day. Hover those knees off the ground. And then pour back. Keep magnetizing the heart toward the thighs, pressing into the base of the fingers, and affirming calmness, peace, radiate through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Calmness, peace, radiates through every cell of my body, every fiber of my being. Okay, let's step into our forward fold. See where you want your hands, underneath the soles of the feet, resting at the elbows, equal weight distributed through the feet. Most important, relaxing, casting aside unnecessary mental burden. So an opposite of peace would be probably irritability, frustration. That certainly happens in life, of course. So we don't want it, sometimes we just let it go, but other times you can literally like, oh, okay, let me acknowledge that. It's certainly, when that happens. And we can, we could do a move like this. We could first acknowledge it and then try to let it go. See how we can let go. And then as we come up, the heart lifts. And we want the piece to wrap around the irritability. We want that to get bigger. And when we do this, more so in our yoga nidra at the end, you'll probably feel that neutralization more. We allow both to exist, but we also know that the highest truth is our wholeness. So we come back to our mountain pose. Maybe the hands want to be here. Maybe the hands want to be by our side. I am able to see and act in alignment with my divine purpose. See if this affirmation speaks to you. I am able to see and act in alignment with my divine purpose. So I just wove in an opposite there, so that of course we have these dualities in our feelings and our emotions and how to work with them. Okay, we're going to do that series to the other side. So when you're ready, we're going to inhale, tap at the spiritual eye, bring others into our practice, invite their healing energy, whatever is best for them as we elongate. And then arms come down by our side, and we're just going to bend the knees and step the left foot back into our Virabhadrasana 1. Tailbone down as much as we can, knee tracking over the second toe, physical alignment principles. If you're wobbling, make it a little bit wider with your stance. Okay. All right. I attune my will to the source of all power. If we can do an eagle pose with the arms, we're going to bring that left elbow under, or maybe hug, or maybe stay in that stance. Okay, touching the spiritual eye with the thumb or the knuckles, or visualizing that connection there, that opening, and asking for divine guidance. I attune my will as you exhale to the source of all power. See which variation works for you. Could be the classic warrior 1 or the eagle arm warrior 1. Pulsing up and down. One more time. Unravel. I attune my will to the source of all power. As we reach your arms forward, rotate off of that back heel. And hydrating the hips, rolling onto the little toe side, rocking side to side. Hip flexibility, we know how important that second chakra is, and root chakra as well. Whew. Okay. All right, you can take one affirmation and work with it, or add several. When you're ready, we just mindfully do our flow, right? We turn the back toe under, we come back to that strength of the plank. And we can sustain the plank, come forward or back, or you can try walking the feet together, rolling toward one side, hip drops down, but then comes back up, and then going over to the other side. As your upper body turns as well. And then the chest chin, this time chaturanga. Before we rise up, fingertips in, twisting toward that right elbow shoulder, and then back to center. Leg strong, twisting toward that left shoulder elbow, and then back to center. And now we could maybe interlock in our locust. Inhale, maybe arms by the side. And we'll take a pulse up and halfway ease down. Soaring up on our wings of joy. Joy is part of our innate wholeness. Recharging the spine, and now resting at our sixth chakra, Ajna chakra. Full yogic breath, coming back to the central channel again and again and again. All right, feet hip width apart, strong, like you have that inner block between the thighs, hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, rise up into your variation of cobra. Add the lion's breath, shoulders down. And knees touch down if they're not already, and let's just take that all in and back to our child's pose, but this time a little bit wider with the knees. Belly breathing, lift the wrists if that works for you. Let's do that. Bring the knees a little closer. Let's walk our arms over to the right again. Stretching through the left side of the body. And then walking over to the center. Stretching over to the left with the hands, but that will stretch more so the right side of the body, the ribs. The head is probably not touching at this point because their hands are moving. And then back to center. And then when we come up, this will be different, another different one. I've taught it before, of course. It's forearm down dog, sometimes called dolphin. But the idea is my forearms would be on the ground like this. The hands come together, and they probably won't touch the spiritual eye, but that's the idea, okay? So we just get our alignment by bringing our hands to the elbows and then hands together, but then we want to flush the little finger side of the hand so we're not jamming, and then the thumbs can touch the spiritual eye, but most likely when you come up, it depends on your body. Like mine is going to go away from the thumbs and reach back into dolphin, or sometimes called forearm down dog. About 4 breaths here. And then keeping the strength flow going, we step back our feet a couple inches and we come back to our forearm plank. But then we pour back, we touch into sixth chakra, but then walk our feet in. If this works for your body, otherwise come into down dog. Okay, to transition from this pose, bend the knees. Forgot to tell you to have your block ready. Gonna grab mine here, our book. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up into our forward fold with our hands on the block. So the back is extended, not as rounded forward into, it's our Ardha half Uttanasana. So you get a little bit more space through the vertebra. And then we soften the knees. If you can, reach the block overhead. Okay. Bring it to the heart. And we're going to do our pyramid pose. So we're going to step our left foot forward and then the right foot back. So we just stretch this block out in front of us. And we come forward. I need to soften my left knee to place that block down. I don't always use a block on this one, but I thought we'd make it a little bit different. Draw that left hip back, the right hip forward. And then you can let go of the block and pour over that leg, opening to the flow of grace. You can really feel as we bow to the wisdom of the heart here. We soften the ego, the me story at the back of the neck. We let it naturally draw into the upper chakras and the heart. And that's surrendering to our higher power, opening to our higher power. So important. We soften the left knee and turn the right foot out. This could be transition to humble warrior if you can interlock. Couple breaths here. And then, if possible, if it's too tricky, we could just move the block over. We don't have to lift it off the ground. If it works for you to come up and lift it, you're welcome to. Switching to the side and moving into our pyramid to the other side. Okay, so I'm just gonna go this way. A little easier to see, I think, with the camera, maybe. Right foot forward, left foot facing forward. Bringing the block in front and then overhead. As that right hip comes back, left hip forward, take your time to come into our pyramid pose. Take your time with the hands on the block. See if this works for you with the hand on the block. It could be higher up or not. You could bring your release the block out to the side, pour over that back, that front leg, but reach to that back heel. Opening to the flow of grace. Really making this a practice to attune to our sixth chakra, our upper chakras where our intuition and wisdom definitely reside, where the two become one, not in separation when that's happening. Bend the knee, turn the foot out, back foot out to the side, humble warrior. If you can, interlock, squeeze and soak. You can make more sound here, the ah sound, release sound. And coming up, releasing the hands, finishing this standing pose low. If this is too wide, walk your feet in a little bit closer. But take a moment and star pose. Opening up. Hands can be at the hips. Hands can be interlocked behind you. And opening up and hinging forward. Balance between both feet now as the knuckles up to the sky, crown of the head toward the earth. Stay with it. Keep descending the crown of the head. As I quiet myself, the answers will come to me. I tune into my higher intuition. Stay with it. I'm able to see and act in alignment with my divine purpose. Okay, when you're ready, hands can release on the hips. Slowly come up. Ooh, watch the head rush there. A heart open and come back to the center of our mountain pose. Rooting down and breathing. We got one more transition from the standing into our pigeon pose, Ekapada Rajakapatanasana. And of course, always part of our health regime is that we get enough sleep, and that's a big one for all of us, but especially as we're, oh, so much could be said about that, but tuning into what your intuition is telling you, what would be helpful for your deep rest as far as this balancing. And as we tap in and open and sweep forward, we're going to step it back to down dog again with the inner borders of the feet together, if that's in your practice, or regular feet with a hip width apart. Lift that right leg straight up, so we're not turning the hip out to the side, so it probably won't go up as high. And always building on that core strength by just bringing the knee to the chest in plank, and then kicking it back, if possible. Do that one more time. Knee to chest, and then kick it back. And this one, the knee comes to the chest, and we bring the knee between the hands in our pigeon pose, sliding back on top of the knee. We know if that cheek's off the ground, to put a blanket or a block there to stabilize. And we'll do a little shimmy shake with our upper body. Make sure you're on top of that back knee. And then melting down. And again, we're going to stack one hand on top of the other to rest the knuckles at the spiritual eye. Softening the shoulders as much as possible, releasing the past. Well, it's that time of year that holds 2023. Whew. What do we want to let go of there? Coming into the present. So much of mindfulness based on present moment awareness, because when we're in present moment awareness, we're not doing that past negative looping. So it's really bringing us to wholeness, present centered awareness. And we do that, sensing the breath, sensations in the body. We expand our felt sense. Will bring us into the present moment and bring us from the negative looping. And it's called the default mode in the brain. We all have it. We all have it. We have to work with it with their neuroscience and yoga. And then we're going to rise up. Maybe just kind of see freshly to the side. Ooh, to the other side. Back to center. And we lunge the heart forward to turn the toes under to lift off. And shred it out. Down dog. Eventually walking those inner borders of the feet together. If possible, lift your left leg straight up. We'll do 2 kicks. Knee to chest, plank, and then back. Left flows, going to the crown and the head, cleansing in our forward folds. And then this time we bring the knee to the chest, and then between the hands, take your time to set up pigeon to the other side. Feel the difference on each side. Frontal facing hips, shimmy shake. Okay. Notice how you feel about this pose. One of my favorites. It's been an all-time favorite for a while, for a long time. Thankful for this pose as we ease down. You may have resistance, just breathe into it, see what's going on. Bring the other hand on top. You can remember it's going to feel a little bit different. And that invitation to melt and rest into present centered awareness. And right now, am I safe? I'm okay. Right now, I'm tuning in to my higher self, bringing into the personal self, the wisdom, the guidance, the presence. I know we could stay here longer. It's a beautiful pose to stay longer. You know, you could do that later, perhaps today. But for now, we're going to keep flowing and rising up and visualize that healing energy coming through all the cells of the body, in particular a color or particular areas of the body. And now we're going to rest more on that left cheek. We're going to bend this right knee and just do our rocking horse, pulsing back with that knee up, left knee up, and then right foot up, back and forth. Stabilize and bring this right knee. You can either bring it in front of the shin or on the outside of the left thigh, adjust onto the sit bones. If this deep twist doesn't work for you, you can do Jani Shushasana. Okay. From the core, twist to the right, chin parallel to the floor. Squeeze that knee in, or the elbow on the outside. As we bring out the tension. Ooh. Letting go. Notice what comes up for you. Letting go. What you can control and not bring in on for your personal self into the new year, into 2024, which is the next time I'll see everybody. This will be the last time together of 2023 doing yoga, I think. Yeah. It's all blurry. It's holiday week. And yes, that's true. Coming back to center. Okay, we switch, bending the knees, rooting through the sit bones with that right knee up and left foot. Right knee up and left foot. Rocking horse. And what I want to be grateful for and keep it moving forward is the play and the playfulness, and many of us have little beings in our life to help us remember that. So important. We're going to bring now our left knee up, maybe in front of the shin, maybe on the outside of the thigh. Lengthen and grow. Whew. And that deep twist from the core, twisting, 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 hugging your left knee in, maybe elbow on the outside shin parallel. I'm going to have a visualization at the spiritual eye. You can imagine a candle there, that light, the different flames of the candle. Such a great time of year for candle light and all the things that light represents. Definitely an aspect of the sixth chakra, the light, spiritual light, the clarity, the wisdom, our higher self. Just keep opening to it and listening. That's so key. When you have a question to bring to the higher self, something you're struggling with, you want to ask it in a yes or a no. You don't want to ask yourself a complicated, big storyline. You want to say, you kind of go like, would it be better if I did this? And then you listen if it's a yes or a no. You tune in and your body will tell you. And as you lengthen and grow. All right, let's release our back before Shavasana. Yes, it's that time. Okay. So we want to melt down our low, mid, upper back. We started on the ground. Of course, we end on the ground with maybe just bringing those knees in and rocking side to side. Thank you, body, for all you can do. And do those different types of twists. And see what your body wants to do now. I'm wanting to do the circles, the half circles, and then eventually go into happy baby. But see if your body's wanting something different. Moving. If you're doing a happy baby from side to side, ironing out, maybe stretching one leg, maybe not. And then I just want to finish off with a bridge pose. Okay, so that's what my body's telling me. I love bridge. Feet hip width apart, large toes turn in, plug in the spine to start, but then lift off. Rocking one shoulder, then the other underneath you. Every thought can be a bridge path to higher awareness. Inner thighs magnetizing toward one another. Just let yourself focus inwardly at the spiritual eye. And as you deepen into it, you might see a star or light. White star, perhaps arcing and flattening. And then tuning in, I'm having a moment in Supta Baddha Konasana, belly, heart, crown, full yogic breath, and reverse it to see what would be the best for you for deep restoration, deep relaxation. We know legs up the wall is highly beneficial to reverse the blood flow. You're wanting to put your calves on a ball or over the couch or a chair, or use a bolster for the back of the heart. You decide. And get yourself nice and cozy for our restoration, but I'm also working with Yoga Nidra. So I get ready here. Working with the opposites, integrating opposites. Okay. All right, when you're ready, take as much time as you need to get into comfortable rest. All right, so starting with noticing if your back's against the earth or whatever's touching the earth, just allow that to get heavier, supported. The back body most likely getting heavier. And depending on your positioning, you may or may not want to ease the head from side to side and just make any movements that's going to make you feel 5% more comfortable. Mm. And as you soften the eyes and the jaw and place the tip of the tongue behind the upper teeth, notice sensation, pulsation inside the mouth. I'm going to invite you to soften the shoulders and feel the radiant sensation streamlining down both arms. And breathe into the heart, and floor, ceiling, side walls, back and front of the chest. And allow an inner strength now to emerge into your awareness. This could be courage, peace, love, joy, compassion. Just notice what inner strength is coming to you now. And if it's helpful, allow the memory or an image to arise that evokes this inner strength more fully into your body and into your life. When you experience this quality of the inner strength, and notice if there's images or thoughts arising in your body mind. See how we can participate in this more fully. And as we talked about duality, it's a part of life, of course. And we're going to bring in maybe an opposite feeling of this inner strength. So, for example, say you brought up peace. You would bring up a time you felt irritable, impatient, frustrated. Notice where you sense and feel that in your body. There might be a storyline attached to that experience and that feeling. So you acknowledge it, and you acknowledge this is going to happen. They're going to come up. These more challenging emotions, the opposite of the inner strength. And then, just like we did with our hands earlier, the right hand and the left hand, you want to bring your inner strength and wrap it around. So the piece is going to wrap around, in my example, the irritability. And that may be placed on your belly or your heart or wherever you would like. We want to wrap around the inner strength, wraps around the opposite feeling. So that both come together simultaneously. In your own practice, we could do this several back and forth times. But for example, today, we want to give us this wrapping around feeling and holding these opposites together. And notice the effect when this happens on the body mind. Then going into the spiritual eye, that spacious, unchanging awareness. It's where all the change is happening, arising and unfolding. But this spacious, unchanging awareness is aware of it all. And just know that this inner strength is an essential aspect of awareness. Because awareness is spacious, compassionate, welcoming everything just as it is, and just as it is not. And perhaps we breathe into the belly and the low back and let go of now trying to do or be any way at all. Just simply experience what is present without trying to change or evoke anything. Just everything right now, just as it is. As you sense through the cheeks and the thighs and the knees and the calves, left and right, all the way through to the soles of the feet, digits of the toes. Returning to wholeness, returning to your true self, your true state, sensing all that is in awareness. It's open, spacious, unchanging presence. And with all the changing in the body and mind are unfolding and arising. We can tune into our sixth chakra and allow that inner strength. This is an essential aspect of awareness, loving and compassionate and spacious. And letting yourself perhaps rest in that feeling of inner joy, of integration, of allowing dualities to be here, but then knowing our intuition, our higher self, knowing that this love and compassion is wrapping around all these changes. Resting in wholeness. And the two become one. And just noticing if it's time for you to return back to movement or stay in interiorization, integration. But also know as you're moving into this day, perhaps returning to this felt sense of awareness as the dualities will arise, and we can remember to tune into our sixth chakra as maybe you're wiggling your fingers and toes, if you're coming into a comfortable seat or if you're still lying on the ground. Of course, we want to send this healing energy to others, and that is the Om sound is literally the symbol. There's a triangle and two lotus petals and the Om sound in the symbol of the sixth chakra. We're going to send this healing energy to others by visualizing them at our spiritual eye. And remember, that's out in front of us. I'm going to rub my hands together. That generates some heat. You do what you like here. We'll do this 3 times. Inhale. And bringing the hands together in Namaste, acknowledging that divine light and energy within you, recognizing that in everyone and everything. That's where we are one. Bowing to the wisdom of your heart, letting it lead the way. It's so great to practice together this last day of the year for our gathering. As I stop this.